Team, and so we're just excited about the guys. We like all the guys that we were able to pick, and we want to work with these guys. So, and we're fired up about it.
Nope. I mean, you got to put that in my jacket, though. It's in the closet. No, my jacket right there. Right there.
Yep, that's right, folks. That was the voice of D'Amico Ryans, Coach D'Amico Ryans. A quick clip from last night at the presser. Him and General Manager D'Amico Collins talking about the haul that the Houston Texans pulled in for the 2024 draft. And as we get ready to just, mix this thing up, I am humbly pleased to welcome Mr. Willie Gibson from the Ohio State University. I have to say that, he gets a kick out of that. I understand, from the Midwest, and from my esteemed colleague, the sports director for the community news up in Western New York, Mr. George Radney. Radman, I think Radman's out of the picture for right now. But gentlemen, welcome aboard. The 2024 draft is history now. Everybody thinks they've got the keys to the kingdom. Those are the players that's gonna hopefully get them over, at least add to the mix. Mr. Gibson, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, sir. How about yourself?
Well, we're not complaining. Nice Sunday afternoon. I see. I know. I always see you with them hoodies on. I'm makes me think, man, that the not too cool up there in Ohio right now, is it?
No. Today is cool. I'm in the lower level, and I'm cooler down here. But no, it's about mid 80s today, 83, 84.
And there he is, the man himself, just slid back in the picture, Mr. George Radney, the sports editor, the community news. The reason that I got you gentlemen on, I wanted particularly to have you guys on. Obviously, the Buffalo Bills are on the Texans' schedule this year, so obviously the man that's going to have some insight into the Buffalo Bills draft and how they're going to have a direct influence as far as an opponent. He will have some insight. And the reason I'm having Mr. Gibson there, because obviously, we grabbed the quarterback from that university that he's so proud of. And apparently they done given us a tight end. I don't know. Maybe he might show up. Maybe this tight end might be the deciding factor in New Orleans. We don't know yet. But anyway,
man, you're getting way ahead of yourself. New Orleans, huh? yeah.
Hey, look here. George, right now, everybody's sitting there thinking they got the keys to the kingdom right now after that draft pick. But now, one of the reasons I wanted to have Willie on because of the fact that this was that blockbuster trade that the Browns made with the Texans. We finally reached the culmination of all those picks and everything. So that was the one reason I wanted to, get his insights and everything. But George, good afternoon, man. What's going on, man?
It's a good afternoon. Hey, man, we're up to 60 degrees today. Hopefully up to 80 tomorrow. Hopefully 70. At least we hoping for 70 tomorrow. We trying to get there.
Okay, well, it's overcast here and 79 degrees, man. And guess what? My wife has already got the air conditioner on, so go figure. go figure. Hey guys, quick just a quick one. I'm gonna run down the Texans pick in a little bit, but before I get there, I hate to start this on a somber note, but in case if folks haven't heard, Tank Dell was injured last night in a shooting in a major shooting at a club out in Sanford, Florida. A gunman opened fire. In fact, a 16-year-old gunman opened fire. He was injured, not major, but so everybody's keeping eyes on that situation. He's not seriously hurt, but he was injured in gunfire at an incident in his home right outside in the outskirts of his home, Sanford, Florida, last night. So That's it. I mean, it's tough when your kid can't go back home and just enjoy himself. But that seems to be the atmosphere that we're living in now. So just a quick update. We are aware of Tank Dale's situation. Obviously, not only with our thoughts and prayers with Tank, but also with the rest of the folks who happened to be injured in that shooting spree last night. But anyway, just wanted to cover that. I didn't want to. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, it's a shame that the people, they said it was a fist fight between two other people, and then some third party pull out a gun and just start shooting in the crowd. I mean, how you just shooting in the crowd of people, man? Just people, the young people today, they just don't have no disregard and respect for their own self as well as their own other fellow teenagers and people, and forget adults, man. It's just ridiculous. The kids just don't have the respect. It's a shame. All over the country. It's not just Houston, it's Rochester, it's Buffalo, it's everywhere, man.
Yeah, it's a tough situation, man. It's a pathetic situation. We just happen to be, I'm in the South. I mean, we are in love with the Second Amendment. I think we love the Second Amendment a little more than we love the First Amendment down here. But that's the nature. That's the nature. That's the nature of the beast where we live in, and we have to deal with it. But anyway, George, what's a quick rundown on the Bills draft? What are your thoughts quickly? And then I'll get to Mr. Gibson, and I'm going to give a rundown on the Texans pick from yesterday.
Yeah, what's your high-end supermarket there in Houston? What is the most expensive supermarket in Houston?
Probably Whole Foods or somewhere like that.
Whole Foods? Okay. It's like go to Whole Foods, take Whole Foods and take $20 there. And you just take all you got is $20 to go shop with. That's what the Buffalo Bills were dealing with because their salary cap is so doggone out of whack. They only had $20. All they could get was some bologna, some cheese, and maybe some grapes or a couple of apples, and get the heck up out of there. Oh, and I forgot our favorite meal for $20, romaine noodles. Got that 5 for $1, or we come out there with about 10 packs of romaine noodle. Where you used to get I don't know if they still 5 for $1 the way they used to be when my kids were growing up on them from time to time. But you get your romaine noodles, you get your bologna, you get your cheese, and you get you some bread, half a loaf of bread, the small loaf of bread, and you come out of that supermarket and that's what the Bills had to do. The Bills couldn't afford to pay a first-round draft pick. That's how bad it is up here in Western New York. They had to get to their friends. Andy Reid bailed out, Bean out. They moved back once, and then of course his good old friends down in Carolina, where they came from, they moved back one into the second round, being the first pick at number 33 in the second round, because the Bills have no money. They didn't have the money to pay a first-round pick, and definitely, if they did, they wouldn't have been able to pay all of their other draft picks. So that's why they started with the second round and went on with drafting guys that they could budget and put into their budget. And they did a good shopping job. I thought Brandon Beane did okay with Keon Coleman. He's a Florida State wide receiver. I think he'll play. He'll help the team out. Then came Cole Bishop from Utah, safety. I think he's the heir apparent probably to Taylor Rapp because Taylor Rapp gets hurt so much. Mike Edwards came over from the Champions, who started for the champion Kansas City Chiefs at safety. He's now be starting for the Buffalo Bills at the free safety position this coming season. He's a ball hawk. He's not much of a tackler, but he knows how to intercept the ball or pick up fumbles and things of that nature. He's that type of safety guy. So I think this guy, Cole Bishop, will be fine. Dwayne Carter from Duke, defensive tackle from Duke. He'll be able to come in and give Ed Oliver a blow every now and then when Ed needs a break in the rotation. Dwayne Carter was a good defensive pickup there. Then Ray Davis, the running back out of Kentucky. That I think the Bills finally drafted a running back. I think this guy can make a difference. Will help James Cook out and help the backfield unit get the job done. Then my favorite pick, Cedric Van Pran Granger, the starting center for the Georgia Bulldogs. He's been in a lot of big games for Georgia. All he has to do is put on a little bit more weight between now and the season. They still can start him at center. The Bills finally drafted a center guard. Brandon Beane just wasn't drafting those type of players in the past. He finally realized that the cupboard is bare. You got to start with your line. Get your line in order. And this Cedric Van Pran Gringo, I think he can get the job done at center. That way, everybody else can stay in alignment. You don't have to move your guard. They were talking about moving the guard to center and all of that. No, now you drafted a center, have him start. Everybody else stays intact. And last year's unit stayed intact the whole season. They weren't injured. They started every game. So that looks good. Mitch Morris, he should have been gone a couple of years ago. They kept Mitch Morris. They held on to him way too long. I'm glad they finally drafted the center. Then the linebacker, Edafon Olafosho from University of Washington. He's going to come in and hopefully be able to play special teams. Then in the another fifth round, Javon Solomon, who I like a lot. I think Javon Solomon out of Troy, he might be able to make the team not only on special teams, but get some options in the edge rushing area. Tylen Grable, offensive tackle. I think he can come in, maybe be a practice squad guy. Daquan Hardy from Penn State, defensive back. I think he will be able to play. He may not start, but the Bills are good at getting defensive backs in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round, and those guys playing a lot. So I think Daquan Hardy from Penn State will get a lot of time. And then the international player, Travis Clayton, offensive lineman, we'll see what he can do in training camp. All in all, on the shoestring budget, I think Brandon Beane did a hell of a job coming up with these guys. Now we got to see who they pick up as undrafted free agents today and tomorrow, and then start putting the pieces into place and putting your football team together this year on that shoestring budget.
I got you. Mr. Gibson, what about the Cleveland Browns?
Yes, sir. Well, to start it off, as you said, the blockbuster trade, the first round pick was conveyed to Houston. And actually, I believe Houston traded that to Minnesota.
Correct.
So the first round pick was not executed by Andrew Berry, but you started at 54 on Friday night with the Cleveland Browns, and this, from what someone told me, you can never go wrong with the Buckeye. And they drafted defensive tackle. Hey, Mr. George shook his head like, no, you can't. You're right.
You can't.
They drafted defensive tackle Michael Hall from the Ohio State University in the second round. Definitely a need for the Cleveland Browns. They lost Jordan Elliott out to San Francisco free agency. Definitely needed depth at that position. So, and Michael Hall is going to quote, to use a basketball term to quote Shaq, he's going to bring the funk on the nasty dunk. He's going to mix it up in the trenches. He's going to do whatever it takes, and he's going to bring the noise. So that was the start of the draft for the Cleveland Browns in round 2. And then in round 3, they took the guard, and this was kind of an interesting pick, Zach Zinter, the guard from the team up north in the Big Ten. And the interesting.
Wait, excuse me, sir. Wait a minute. You sort of pushed over that. Which team up north? Wisconsin?
No, the team up north.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna slip up and catch you.
Nah,
Go ahead.
Not all season, but I'm still on my game.
Oh, okay. I got you.
But now the interesting part about Zach Zinter is he was injured in the rivalry game this season, broke his tibia and fibia, and on the play, he broke it when Michael Hall was blocked into him. So the connection with those two continues. Now they're brothers. They had the introductory press conference on Saturday, and they both discussed. They had already talked prior to that, and they, hey, it's the rivalry. We went to different schools, but we're brothers now, and we're always connected by that play. But Zach Zinter. But the thing about that, Cleveland has a great depth on the offensive line. So that was kind of interesting when they took Zach Zinter. Joe Bitonio is getting a little long in the tooth. Some would say Wyatt Teller, perhaps. So maybe that's a precursor of some things down the line. In round 5, they did take Jamari Thrash, again, a wide receiver from Louisville. Last year with a contract for Amari Cooper. The guys in Houston know a little bit about Amari Cooper last year in the regular season game. And he last year was deal, it's kind of a security blanket, safety net if he does not return, if he does not choose to accept the extension from Andrew Berry and the Browns. Jamari Thrash can slide into that role, learn this year as an understudy to Cooper, and join the youth movement at wide receiver going forward. Linebacker was definitely a need as well, and Nathaniel Watson from Mississippi State can definitely fill that need. Some off-field issues, some age. People were concerned about his age, so that is the reason some feel he slipped to the 6th round. But he's a player that can come in and provide again depth to Cleveland on the second level. And then Miles Harden, I mean, he's 7th round pick, corner. Again, just someone that provides depth. Special teams got to start. Hopefully, interesting. He had one interception on the season, and it was the season opener against Luther Barton and Missouri. So he's played top level talent. He's had success against top level talent, because that's always the question about. Well, he went to South Dakota. He went to FCS school. You know, how will he translate? Well, he's had success on a high level. And then to finish it up, Jawan Briggs, defensive tackle from Cincinnati, again providing depth. Some people call him a stumpier defensive tackle. Definitely there for Dalvin Tomlinson when he needs to step away and then come out for a blow or two. He can fill that. But the interesting thing about Briggs is that the Browns had him in on a top 30 visit from Cincinnati. And Andrew Berry mentioned this. What stuck out to him is he wrote a thank you note. He sent Andrew Berry a thank you letter for bringing him in and spending time with him on his top 30 visit. And people, like, oh, what does that mean? I mean, things like that, even in the game of football. I mean, those things matter. And Andrew Berry mentioned that in his comments on Briggs, that he in all my years in football, he's the first and only person to write me a thank you note. So, yeah.
Well, at least he's trying to distinguish himself. I mean, you know what?
Yeah,
what is only 200? It's only 257 players drafted, and you trying to distinguish yourself and doing something. I mean, it's a matter of what 0.5% of 1% that's winding up going to get drafted, and then with the free agency. But so hey, I tip my hat to the young man. He was applying for a job. That's exactly what he was doing, and that's what they tell you to do when you're applying for a job. And so I tip my hat to him. All right, let's run the Texans pick down. Obviously, the Texans they did not have a first round pick this year. Coach, unless you've been living under a rock or somewhere, the Texans' first round pick from last year more than made up for not having a first round pick from this year. Obviously we got that young man from Ohio State, Mr. C.J. Stroud. We got the young man out of Alabama, both of those in the second and third pick from last year. So Texas didn't have a first round pick this year. And guess what? I don't think nobody's shedding a tear down here by not having a first round pick this year. But their first pick overall was Kamari Lassiter, cornerback, Georgia. Now, initially we saw and I'm gonna be kidding with you. Somebody looked at his time in the 40 from the combine, and I think he had a 4.6. But Nick Casario talking with us, talking about, hey, don't let that 4.6 fool you. He said this kid can play, and plus he's a top-notch cornerback. He's in the same mode when you talking about Kirby Smart and Nick. Looking at him, how well he's been able to produce defensive backs and so forth. The second pick in the second round was Blake Fisher, a big tackle out of Notre Dame, and I'm gonna come back and discuss a little extra conversation I had about Blake. The big pick, this is in the first pick. This is off a West Coast pick, Kalen Bullock, a free-ranging center field type safety out of USC. That they were real high on. And here's a young man, Willie, that I think you might know a little bit about. Some kid by the name of Cade Stover. I think he went to that university up there in Columbus. Somehow another way, Nick said that CJ came and vouched for him, and they were like, "Oh, okay, you need another tight end." So they got this kid Cade Stover. I think you know a little bit more about him than probably maybe some of the scouts and everything. And I'll give you the floor and let you elucidate on all his attributes. That was in the 4th round, and they had a couple of picks in the 6th round. Jamal Hill, linebacker out of Oregon. Now, when I looked at his 6 feet, had about 215 pounds, and I was like, whoa, he's light in the butt. Probably gonna be a weak side linebacker, but what we found out that this kid was a defensive back, and they moved him up to a linebacker. So that means this kid can run. Jawar Jordan, running back, Louisville. That was the one of them, the probably trying to even though we got Joe Mixon and so forth, we lost Devin Singletary. So we got Jawar Jordan is coming in. Then we got back to USC again, Solomon Byrd, an edge rusher. In fact, if you go back to my X or Twitter X, I got a cut from what D'Amico Ryans was talking about both of these kids out of SC, what he liked about both of them. So that cut is out on my X feed. And then that was the first pick in the 7th round because they traded back, and so they picked up this kid, the edge rusher. Then they had Marcus Harris, a defensive tackle out of Auburn. He was the second pick in the 7th round, and they still are replenishing the defensive tackles because remember, George, I think remember earlier during free agency they lost 3/4 of their defensive line that started last year. So he's coming in from Auburn, and the last pick, Ladarius Henderson, from the National Championship School. Sorry about that, Mr. Gibson. That's that school that you don't want to call a name, but he's out of Michigan. I'll go ahead and say it that
it's
way
the
to keep you
north.
Huh?
It's the team up north.
Yeah, that still can't. Yeah, that team up north that you referred to. He's offensive tackle, and what's interesting about this young man, he's probably spent his time between tackle and guard. And the question I had put to Nick Casario, the Houston general manager, after the 2nd round, talking to Nick about Blake Fisher. Blake Fisher and I asked him, I said, because Titus Howard, between where the injuries have happened with the Houston Texans, Titus Howard was the starting right tackle and had to move in the guard, left guard because of injuries and so forth. And I asked Nick, could Fisher is a possibility that maybe he'll move it inside, and he said, nah, not right now. He said this kid is a bona fide tackle. And then last night, after the draft wrapped up, and we're talking to D'Amico and Nick, and I posed the question about Ladarius Henderson, the kid from up north, from Michigan, the national championship team. I asked him about what's his likelihood of maybe moving inside, because he's played roughly. He had 26 starts, I believe, at left tackle, and he had roughly 19 starts, give or take, at left guard. And he was one of those kids that came from Arizona State, transferred in. So that's a situation like that. All in all, I think they're pleased. I think, and this is just me, guys. This is just last night when I think the Texans probably would have if a couple of those defensive tackles that went early in the 2nd round. I had a sneaking suspicion that the Texans didn't want to move up, but I had a sneaking suspicion that they probably would have wanted to pick the young man maybe out of Illinois. But that's just my perspective, talking to a couple of the media guys. But the Texans are pleased where they are. They signed 6 undrafted free agents so far, and I think that's probably going to be the limit to where they are at this point. But all in all, I think the Texans was filling in guys. I mentioned this earlier, and I think George, we probably talked about when the Stephon Diggs, and we might have mentioned this too. The one thing, and I think D'Amico Ryans is not going to have this happen again, is what happened at M&T Bank Stadium January 20th, early this year, in that second round game when the Baltimore Ravens just went roughshod over them. They're not looking to have that happen again. And I think that between the linebackers they have in here and the defensive tackle, they looking to shore this thing up. And so they plan on competing. So all in all, it looks good. Now, here's the thing that everybody loves to give a grade. And George, you've been doing this, you've been around a while. Willie, you've been around a while. I can sit up here and throw a grade at. These guys ain't stepped on the field yet. I don't even think they signed their contracts yet.
Thank you.
We don't know what these guys are going to be able to do on that next level. On paper, they look good. The only problem is you don't play the game on paper. You play it on the field. And so there's probably going to be some free agencies. Nick Casario mentioned that, that they are looking at, it's probably going to see some guys getting cut, moving on from the Texans, roster in the next couple of days because they're going to be moving some people in. But realistically, I think they're pleased with where they are. Now, let me ask this question, gentlemen. When's the last time we saw 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round? Can anybody remember the year or remember some of the players?
Yeah, 1983.
Yep.
And Jim Kelly was one. Jim Kelly was one. And who was the last one picked of those quarterbacks? Dan
Marino.
Yeah, isn't that something? The best one was picked last.
Yeah. That's why I got you guys on. I'm thinking I'm gonna both of y'all sit up here. Oh man, wait a minute. What'd you say? Tell me. You better come a little bit earlier than that, huh, George? And guys, yeah, you're right, man. No, it's interesting. Elway, Kelly, Dan Marino, but here's the other guys: Ken O'Brien, Tony Eason, Todd Blackledge.
Yeah. Tony Eason did make a Super Bowl, though. He did make a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
2 years later.
Yeah, right. Exactly right. So, hey, man, could we see this 6? Could we see 3 of these guys like Elway, Kelly, and Marino? Could we see 3 of this 6 maybe going to the Hall of Fame? Who knows in the next 20 years? Now, I may or may not be alive, but could these guys be Hall of Fame potential? We don't know. If you just look at the situation here, the 6 quarterbacks taken in this entire first round, and come back and look at these guys. What are your thoughts, man? Looking at was it anybody of that 6 that any of y'all was surprised at the pick, where they were picked at? George, Willie, anyone go for it?
Go ahead.
Bo Nix at 12.
Why?
With all due respect, and a colleague once told me that if you ever leave something with all due respect, 9 times out of 10 you're about to say something disrespectful.
Yeah.
So
okay, Bill Parcell.
Yeah. So with all due respect, Bo Nix started 61 games in college. 61 games in college. There's a reason he started 61 games in college. You don't stick around in college that long if you have what it takes to get to the next level. So the fact that he stuck around and started 61 games in college, it's a question for me. Huge question. And Denver, you just ran off a guy in Russell Wilson, who you still have on your cap for $85 million over the next 2 years, who probably could have done well for you. But Bo Nix at 12, I mean, second round, perhaps.
Yeah, at the earliest.
Yeah, but 12, top half of the first round? No.
I saw him in person, Auburn versus LSU a few years ago, and he was horrible that day. I mean, his arm, he just can't get the ball to the sideline consistently. He can't throw the deep ball. He can't really throw it consistently. He has a lot of question marks, and he can't move that well either. His dad was a big-time guy at Auburn, so they're saying that's why he got in and was the quarterback his freshman and sophomore year. Auburn had a great defense that year, and if they would have had more from their offense, they could have been. Because matter of fact, that game I went to, it was raining, and it was windy in Baton Rouge, and that was the lowest scoring game that LSU had the entire year, because Burroughs couldn't throw the ball. Burroughs another guy. It was looking like I was watching the same quarterback. They both can't throw their arm strength they can't consistently throw to the sideline. And if it's in bad, windy weather like it was that day, you could see their balls were just taking off. The wind was just taking. Neither one of them have a strong arm. Joe Burrows at least is upstairs. I realized when he went to Cincinnati, the guy can read. He can read the plays. He understands the playbook and knows how to. His body may not be able to hold up and do it, but mentally he can decipher defenses. Where Bo Nix, I'm just shocked that he went at number 12. He should have been second, third round. The only one worse than that was when the Jets picked Sam. I can't think of his name. Number 1. And that guy was like a third or fourth round draft pick, and you picking him at number 1 in the entire league. The guy threw interceptions at USC his whole career at USC, and you're gonna pick him number 1 because they had a big hype thing for Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold.
Okay.
Oh, he's a bum, man. Straight up bum. And they picked him at number 1. I was like, what? Oh, number 2. I think it was the other guy.
Yeah.
The Tampa Bay quarterback went 1, right?
Yeah. Cleveland took Baker Mayfield at 1. Yeah.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield. It was him, and then there was another quarterback, and all of them were just very shaky picks. And I think Lamar was like number 31, or he got because Baltimore came back into the first round and picked him up. But it was just horrible. How isn't it interesting how the NFL the worst quarterbacks go first and the best quarterbacks go last? You ever notice that about the NFL?
Well, I mean, it's a crapshoot. I mean, no,
it's not, man. Hey, I just told you the guy's a bum, man. Why would you pick him number 1?
I mean, but look here. I mean, hold up, Brad, man. Come on. Let's face it. I'm not the one that's scout. I'm not the one that's putting these grades on these guys. I mean, I think was anybody surprised what the Atlanta Falcons done with the selection of Penix from Washington, that quarterback? Did that surprise you, Willie George? Were y'all surprised after they paid all that money to whatchamacallit from Minnesota and then turn around and drafted a quarterback?
Initially, yes, but it makes sense when you think about it because they're actually giving Kirk Cousins credit. They're like, look, we know you're good. We're not going to be in the top 10 with you playing. We know that. So we also know that you're 36 years old and you're not going to play forever. So I got to have a succession plan. So is he a fitted? I don't understand the offense. I mean, they guaranteed you $100 million. You're going to play. So they're planning as well. Any smart GM would. Terry Fontenot, congratulations to you. Mm-hmm. He planned for the future. Like I said, he knows he's not going to be drafted in the top 10 with Kirk Cousins playing quarterback because they have everything else. They needed the quarterback. So while I have this shot, I got to strike while the iron's hot and get the quarterback I want to need after Kirk Cousins.
Right. In the last couple of years, they've been picking guys up. The running back, Bijan Robinson, the tight end, Kyle Pitts, linemen. They've been picking guys up the last 3 or 4 years. But now they knew last year they needed a quarterback because they had a guy. Their quarterback last year should have been in the USFL. He's another one that shouldn't even have been drafted. The kid out of Cincinnati. Oh, straight up bum. I said, I was shocked when he was drafted. I said, what? He got drafted by an NFL team. He's not an undrafted free agent because he was garbage at University of Cincinnati, man. And he definitely was garbage in the NFL. So, but to make the clear point is that Terry Fontenot came from New Orleans and he saw Drew Brees, a little short guy with a strong arm. This guy here has a strong arm. He understands this guy can get the ball to receivers. So he said, hey, we're not going to be at this position most likely. We probably won't have an opportunity to get a top potential quarterback. I was surprised like you, Willie, but when I thought about it and I thought who the general manager happens to be, I said, oh, he's making sure he has a guy. And keep in mind, the quarterback, Kirk Cousins, coming off an Achilles, and he's 36 years old. He never did have speed. He wasn't a mobile quarterback to begin with, so he could easily get hurt this season, and now you can go right to Penix and get him in there, and hopefully they won't have to go to him right away. He'll have time to learn behind Kirk Cousins and be able to at least get a season under his belt and then come back the next year. I think they said, hey, 1 year with Kirk, next year we go with Penix.
So, all right, so, I mean.
The media don't think that way.
Look, let's put it like this. Penix probably won't see the field for at least a year, if not, unless like you said, will Penix sit on the bench for 2 solid years? You think
I
either
do.
one?
Well, here's
No.
why I think so.
Okay, Will.
Kirk Cousins is guaranteed $100 million. So that second year of the guarantee, they're not sitting him when they already paid him, unless he's hurt.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he's going to be hurt, and you're going to see Cousins will still be there, obviously, because the money speaks, money talks. So yeah, he'll be there for at least 2 years, but I think he may not be playing. The starting guy, he may be injured, and they'll be able to try to keep Penix in there a little bit to see what Penix can do because I mean they got a very nice diverse offense. That man. Now you can get the ball to Kyle Pitts. You can see. Then you got Landon, the wide receiver. They got a really nice offense. All they needed is a quality quarterback that can get the ball, and both of them can get the ball to the receivers. It's just how long can Kirk Cousins' body hold up? How long can he hold up? Is the key.
Well, here's one thing. Let me give Kirk Cousins credit. Every place he's left from and gone to, he's gotten major box office contracts. I mean, this guy, I don't know who his agent is, but I tell you what, if I'm a particular quarterback, I think I might go find whoever Kirk Cousins' agent is, because he has gotten 3 blockbuster contracts. 3, because he got one when he went to Minnesota, and now he left Minnesota and gone to Atlanta. So yeah, he's got three blockbuster contract guys. So I tip my hat to him. He's able to parlay. He was able to parlay 3 magnificent contracts, and has yet to see an NFC champion, an NFC or any type of conference championship game yet. So okay, I tip my hat. Go, Will.
1 playoff win in 12 seasons.
Wow.
Wow.
That shows you how bad the quarterback position is.
So in other words, everybody that's kicking Dak Prescott, at least Dak got more. I think Dak got more win than he does, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Hey guys, I want to put this on the tee. And Will, I know you said with all due respect, I'm not going to even come with all due respect. I'm just going to put it. I'm putting it on the tee, and I'm jamming it down there. How in the hell that not one HBCU player not get drafted again?
Yeah. Again.
I mean, I'm trying. Or is it because I think they play on the same field with that the other schools play on? I think the width of the field is still 53 yards wide. I believe it is. Mm-hmm. I think that the field is 110 yards, 120 yards. I think they play on the same regulated field as the rest of these kids play on. And I mean, if I'm wrong, let me know. But why are we going through this again? You mean to tell me that when you look at the history of this league and look at the record setters where they come from, you mean to tell me that that's not one kid could get drafted? Not one?
Not only that, I know, speaking of HBCUs, there's a team I think of right now that plays in an NFL stadium. Tennessee State plays in Nissan Stadium, the same stadium that the Titans play in. So I'm quite sure there have been some personnel people in the building during games. At least there should be. They're in your city. And I know they've seen them. So, and probably the greatest Titan of all time is the head coach at Tennessee State, Eddie George.
Eddie George, Heisman Trophy winner. Oh, where's he from again? Where's he coming from again, Will?
The Ohio State University.
Okay. All right. I know you like saying that, but
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and I've had this, and I've stated this last year, I believe, a year before. All the scouts, you can't say that they don't know. And and some of these scouts look like us guys, and they have a low opinion of the level of talent at these HBCU schools. And I'm going like when these kids, like you say, Eddie George is at Tennessee State. I mean, you got other pros that have been there. You know, Deion created his own. He's his own promotional school. He's his own promotional thing in itself. But you shouldn't have to have Deion Sanders at be one of your coaches for all of you to get brought some attention that you got players there. Mm-hmm. That should not be the case. And so I'm just at a point. I mean, hello, what's going on? You mean these kids aren't deserving of an opportunity?
Well, just what you just said, the conversation we just had a few seconds ago. Why is Bo Nix being drafted at number 12? I mean, the guy, you can give your eyeball test and see that guy's not a first round draft pick. That guy's skill set isn't that good to be. Ever since Deion, and now you're seeing more black retired NFL players going and coaching at these HBCUs. At the HBCUs, you notice the NFL is not these. You notice all of a sudden it's still these guys aren't being drafted, and these guys are being coached by former NFL. So don't you tend to reason that hey, these guys are getting NFL type coaching, so why wouldn't some of these guys be drafted now? I mean, even in the past where you didn't have these guys, you were at least bringing one or two in via the draft, and now you still not bringing none in. That's unheard of, and it's insulting to the National Football League that the HBCU schools are not getting the type of guys are not getting drafted. If Bo Nix can get drafted, or Sam Darnold could get drafted number 2 overall when he was a bum at University of Southern California, and you can't draft one or two guys in the 4th, 5th round or 2nd round, and then guys who walk-ons, who undrafted free agents, they end up making the teams. It's insulting.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to understand, guys. I mean, you know, you can't, you know, facilities, yeah. And listen, and admittedly, the MAC had a lot of players drafted in its most recent completed draft. I mean, the MAC plays, and the MAC is unique and they turn out a lot of coaches. They turn out a lot of good players. You can't tell me between the MEAC, the SWAC, that you're not getting a comparable type of player coming out. And I'm just using it at that level. I mean, we know some MAC schools have turned around and beaten these Power 5 or Power 3 now, because it's not even a Power 5 anymore. But you know, the MAC schools, I mean, I was just going through the draft and just seeing those players getting like from Toledo and so forth. So you mean to tell me that there's nowhere out of a MEAC school, there's nowhere out of a SWAC school? Are you kidding me? Nobody's good enough to being worthy of a low round draft pick? And I'm not and folks, somebody want to say, you know, no, this is about quality. These are about guys that we know we can play, because I guarantee you next season you're gonna see some couple of kids that's gonna probably come in there and they're gonna go like, where did this kid come from? Oh, that's one of the kids come out of HBCU, and everybody gonna want to start ranting, raving, and all. No, this kid was probably worthy to be drafted, but you know, it's just I'm beside myself in the fact that again they get overlooked, and the question becomes why. And you know, and I'm just figuring maybe because they play on the field is 60 yards long. I don't know. Maybe because it's arena football. Maybe they don't look at it in a serious tone. But I'm gonna get. Go ahead, George.
The guard, the lineman that plays for the Houston Texans. He came from HBC. He was drafted. Was he drafted or was he undrafted free agent?
You talking about what, Shaq?
No, his name. You have a guy now. He's still on the. You mentioned him. The offensive lineman for the Texans.
Oh, Titus Howard.
Titus Howard.
Yeah,
Where did he come? He came from HBCU, correct?
Yeah, Alabama. Yeah, Alabama. Alabama State.
Was he drafted? Or was he an undrafted?
He was a Texans first round pick. And I'm glad you mentioned. Thank you for mentioning that. You know who wrote the story who wrote the lead story in the Houston Defender at the time when he was Max Edison, late Max Edison. That was his feature story, and Titus got drafted first round pick that year that Max wrote that story. That particular year. You know, so because like I say, and Titus is, you know, like I say, there's other skilled players that's come. I mean, we've had some kids that actually have left Power 5 or Power 3, whatever the hell they want to call them, and gone back to these HBCU schools and vice versa, going back and forth. So, it's not saying that these kids, the coaching level. I mean, you can't say it's the coaching skills because you look and see who's going to these HBCUs or coaching. So I don't know, but anyway,
I'm seeing kids leaving LSU who are like thought they went to LSU. The 5 guys just got picked up by Southern University down there in Baton Rouge. Guys who were on the second string, they ended up being second, third string when they finally got they're sorted out there at LSU. So guys are leaving the power schools, and because if they're not getting playing time, they want playing time. So now that's more important than just being at these big time colleges and universities now, because they see, you might have 5 linebackers. You got 3 linebackers ahead of you, or 5. Alabama used to have 8 running backs. I mean, come on, man. What you gonna do with all these running backs, all these wide receivers, man? Man, you guys go on. The kids are waking up and saying, I don't need to play at Alabama or LSU to get a look at. People can see me in SWAC. They can see me. Those games are televised. Somebody will see you nowadays. So the talent is starting to spread out, just like it is in college basketball. It's spreading out to these other colleges now because you're able to be seen. It's just that just let you know something going on with the NFL scouting, that they're not drafting these guys. It tells you something is not right.
Yep, that's the voice of Mr. George Radney and Mr. Willie Gibson. And I'm again Dolphins AD Moore. This is the Ad Max Corner. Mr. Gibson, I think I'm gonna get ready to cut y'all loose, guys, because I know you can do double duty today. You're gonna be on with folks talking sports on the on the Houston Roundball team. Well, folks talking sports YouTube channel. And speaking of channels, if you have not subscribed to the Ad Max Corner YouTube channel, please do so. If you have not subscribed to the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel, please do so. If you have not subscribed to the Folks Talking Sports YouTube channel, please subscribe. And also, if you have not subscribed to George, and give everybody else on the Real Deal Sports Show,
it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. It's also you're on every Saturday morning as well, correct?
That's correct. 8 to 9 a.m. every Saturday morning. YouTube, like us, subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification. Real Deal Sports Show. Check us out.
And Mr. Gibson, I mean, all you do is just go like the university, and and it's almost like that the sea is splitting when you go.
No. You know what? I've been thinking. You know what?
I give you a hard time, man. Go ahead, Mr. Gibson.
No, I've been thinking. You know what? I'm gonna stop. I'll stop saying the team up north. I'll stop saying that because I thought about it. I'll say the team that was recently placed on 3 years probation. I'll say that.
Oh, very nice of you. You're so kind. I like that. I like that.
I've seen the light.
You saw the light, huh?
Yeah,
you saw the light with that 3-year probation. Boy, you know what? You can tell, y'all. I appreciate the rivalry, though, man. I really appreciate the spirit and the rivalry that y'all come at one another with. All right, guys, as we get ready to wrap it up, because I know Will, I'm gonna give you a chance to get your throat ready, because I know you got to get a George, wrap it up. What you think coming into the season? What about is this the bill? Are the Bills on the clock right now? If they don't get it done this year, will they just continue to blow up their team?
Well, it's blown up now. I mean, they're blown up now. You got a lot of Mitch Morris is gone, Tre'Davious White, Poyer, Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer. There's a lot of guys. Tim Settle, he's down with you now. Good luck with him down there. We got a lot of guys. Mitch Morris, center. It's blown up now. They're just not calling it a blow up, but it's blown up, and they're reconfiguring it. And also, I'm looking at some of the undrafted free agents the Bills picked up, and the first guy on the list is Frank Gore Jr. from Southern Mississippi. I would have thought with that name, with that pedigree, somebody would have drafted him. How can Frank Gore Jr. not get drafted? And he played at Southern Mississippi. I saw film of him. I even saw film of him, and he looked decent enough that somebody should have picked him he shouldn't be coming in as an undrafted, but he's coming to Buffalo as an undrafted free agent. There's Xavier Johnson from Ohio State. Xavier Johnson Jr., I'm not familiar with him. But any Ohio State wide receiver, I like him right away. So the Buffalo got some guys coming in, and everybody's getting guys coming in as undrafted. We got 7, so that means there's 3 spots left. But why would Frank Gore Jr. not get drafted, guys?
Well, you know what's interesting? Jerry Rice had another son that got drafted in the 7th round from SC. He had a son that was drafted. I forgot.
San Francisco picked him.
Yeah. Oh, the 49ers picked.
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Jerry did. I'm sure Jerry probably walked in and put his name in. No, I don't know, but I mean, yeah.
Oh, you know it, man. You know he was up in there, man. You know he was.
Jerry, that same Jerry Rice out of Mississippi Valley, that particular one. Mississippi Valley, historically black university. Oh, okay, all right. I'm just saying, I'm not gonna go back and get on that horse again, but I'm just saying. Well, what's Cleveland Browns?
I'm sorry, real quick. This quarterback Willie Totten should have got drafted too, man. Back then, that man was throwing Rice all those different passes, slants, deep balls, and he didn't get drafted. He should have been drafted. He played for the Bills during the strike season. He was the Bills quarterback during that strike season year. Come on, man. He should have been a regular drafted player.
Well, and you know what, and now that you mentioned that, God rest his soul, Archie Cooley, the late Archie Cooley, just recently passed, man. So let's give some reference to him, because that was Archie Cooley's. Like you said, I remember him said we get off the bus throwing the football, and so that was, and even Bill Walsh even went back and looked at when he was watching Jerry Rice. In fact, as the story goes, Bill Walsh was here in Houston and happened to caught the sports and was watching some of the highlights, and that's how he caught hold of Jerry. Started watching Jerry Rice and started getting latched on to him. But anyway, Mr. Gibson, what about the Browns? Where are they going? And I mean, I'm hearing a lot of different stories about Deshaun Watson. What's the real deal? What's going on up there with them?
Yeah, he's he's in the building. OTAs have started. They haven't done all field work yet, but reports are that he's thrown the ball up to 40 yards, which, with surgery, he's 5 months post-surgery. So,
okay.
I mean, he's throwing the ball 40 yards at this point, which, 5 months post-surgery, still 5 months for 4 months till the season starts. There's time. So he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
What about the rest of them, Kevin Stephani? What I mean, obviously he got Coach of the Year, and you called it. I mean, when we talked about it, and I tip my hat to you here. But what he had to work with the handicaps he had to deal with. So yeah. What about the rest of the Browns? I mean, what are they? Will they be back in the obviously stay in the playoff hunt again this year?
I think so. It's just the receivers. I said last year of Amari Cooper's contract, they did trade for Jerry Jeudy. Did give him an extension. So, it's what Jerry Jeudy will show. Will you get the Jerry Jeudy from Alabama? Hopefully, Nick Chubb is back rehabbing. You look for him at some point during the season from that horrific injury that he sustained in week 2 of last year at Pittsburgh. So they did restructure his deal to free up cap space that allow him to come back and re-earn that money and incentives. So we'll see. But now it's all about 4. It's all about 4. This is year 3 for Deshaun Watson and his many detractors of one I am not are waiting with bated breath for him to fall off completely. Just point blank period. Some of in our industry, unfortunately, which is crazy to me, but here we are. They're waiting, sir.
Well, I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise. I mean, if you look at the whole landscape, everything else, the way things are going in this country, why not? I mean, come on. Mm-hmm. we see. I just read a poll today that a guy that's on trial right now in New York is still leading the current sitting guy that's in Washington D.C. So go figure. I'm just making that's a statement. Anybody want to start shooting rocks at me? Go ahead, but that's okay. That's my right. That's my First Amendment right. And I also in a state that loves the Second Amendment too. Anyway, moving on. That's not a threat. That's a promise.
That's it.
but anyway, Will, final point. All right. Last point, George. Anything before I cut you loose and let you go? And again, thank you, sir, for jumping on. I appreciate it.
Sure
As
thing.
always, the George last points, and then we go to Will, and then I'll close it out. And Will, you go ahead and take care of that voice. Get you some hot tea and lemon and honey and a little shot of Crown, and that'll get your voice back right.
No, we're not doing that.
Get you right. Yes, indeed. This and also special team guy with the special teams and the kickoffs and things being changed. That's going to be interesting to see how these players adjust and how teams are picking guys specifically for the special teams. So that's going to be something I'll be looking at training camp. I can't wait for training camp in July, August to see how that's going to come about.
Hey, one thing we didn't talk about, and I'm gonna get y'all guys back on when we get to training camp. The new tackling rules again. Is the NFL a way to start playing flag football?
It's coming. It's coming.
It's coming that way.
Oh, okay. All right. Will, last point. Then you go ahead and cut you loose, sir.
All right. I'm gonna use my last point to bring up a pick of George's if I can. Dwayne Carter Jr. Third round pick for Buffalo. Interested for disclosure, he Duke University, 3-time captain at Duke, but he actually is from Pickerington, Ohio, which is probably about 9 miles from where I'm sitting right now. So I've had a chance to, I've had a chance to see that young man grow up essentially throughout, and you're getting a great football player. But if I could say it like this, a phenomenal young man, community based. Top notch. You're getting the total package. Family, great player. Like I said, 3-time captain at Duke, graduate of Duke University. Yeah. So if I could just leave it there, phenomenal young man, phenomenal talent, phenomenal man.
All right, gentlemen, I appreciate it. George, the Rad Man, Real Deal Sports Show. George Radney, Willie Gibson. Gentlemen, I appreciate it. Obviously, we're going to do this again. As always, I appreciate the camaraderie. I appreciate the knowledge. Hey, man, I just appreciate the friendship on top of all of that. And just looking at the wealth of knowledge that we have that we can just put out here on the airways. I mean, and in fact, we had a medium that we can do it, and we're not waiting on nobody else for permission, because I'm not asking for permission. I'm going to do it and do it our way and keep right on going. Gentlemen, appreciate it. Y'all take care. I'll be catch you down the line, okay?
Sir,
thank you so much.
All right, guys. All right, folks, as we get ready to close it down, get ready for Chris Gardner, Folks Talking Sports. You'll get to see Willie Gibson in about another minute or so. I'm getting ready to end this little thing. I'm moving on. I appreciate you all listening. Appreciate y'all the comments that came in through the chat, the comment line. And as always, if you have not subscribed to the AdMax Corner channel, please do so. Like it, subscribe to it. If you have not subscribed to the Houston Round Ball Review channel, like it, subscribe. If you have not subscribed to the Folks Talking Sports YouTube channel, like it and subscribe. And again, as always, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining. Thank you even for the criticism. Thank you for everything. Just the fact that if you just came in for 30 seconds or a minute or two to just give me a shout or a look at, I appreciate it. Thank you. And don't forget, come back, follow me on AD_more64 on X, and as well as the AdMax Corner Instagram, as well as YouTube channel. Folks, I'm out. Talk to you later. We gone. Ciao. I'm gone.